All right. Welcome, Dr. Mazlan. We are having a good crop of panel discussions this morning here. Our topic is to look at leading the way forward in digital and green growth. Of course, this is part of the Asia New Economy Summit. And we have had the fortune earlier with PBEC Chairman Michael Walsh giving us perspective from the Asia Pacific. And Lord Jonathan was able to give us a much more broader Commonwealth and almost a whole world perspective. And Mr. Narayana Murthy focused on the India transformation, which seems to be leading the sort of a situation. And we have some expertise from the other parts of the world. For example, Matthew is here. He is, of course, based in Shenzhen, Malaysia, and everywhere. Perhaps he will bring us the China perspective and how they have moved up. And on my right, on your left is Albert. Of course, I always call him the green man because he's always wearing the green uniform. And not only he speaks about green technology or green growth, he also sort of brings out in terms of a visible form. And we have on the other side, George. I don't know how to describe him actually, because whether he's a German or he's a Malaysianized or he's a regional man and all. And of course, Dr. Mazlan, who is very symbolic of an Islamic identity, not radical, that he brings the perspective, the integrating the digital with the green economy. And finally, anywhere on in every panel, we must have Professor Chin Suzin, who is giving a wider and integrated perspective. Let me, by way of a little outset, we are talking about this Asia new economy. Why only look at Asia? And of course, Asia is now the growth center. They call it the Asian century. If you look at what it would mean, it is continuing to change as we progress from 2020 to 2030 and 2040 and 2050. There is a lot of road maps that is drawn up by these countries. And they talk about Asia is a new dawn. Not dawn, D-O-N, is a dawn. It's a new awakening, the rise of Asia. And these are not jargons or cliches. I think the panel members would be able to bring out their actual realities on the Asian scene, that countries are moving forward. And within this context of Asia is ASEAN. And as I mentioned earlier when we did the citation for His Excellency, the Governor of Pulau Pinang, that ASEAN and Malaysia taking on the centrality issues is giving us a lot of hope. As we go along, we will talk a little bit more on the emphasis on Asia and the sort of digital and green growth. So without further ado, I will take on from my right and then move towards to the left. So Matthew, can we have your presentation? I think you are given 8 minutes and the bell will ring or not ring. You will have to wind up. Later, we will come back to you. Okay, Matthew.
Yeah, thank you, Datu Suri. And thanks, Ken, for KSI for inviting me to this stage again in all familiar faces. And thank you, Tang Suri Michael, again. So today we talk about digital and green growth. First of all, I'd like to, perhaps replace the word green by sustainability or sustainable growth or sustainable digital growth. Obviously, technology play a big part in all of that. But green, to me, we talk about global warming, but I don't know whether you guys agree with me. To me, I think, for example, digital technology like AI is a much bigger threat to human mankind without proper guidance, to proper moral compass and all of those things in order to maintain human species and environment as a whole. I'll a bit deep dive into that a bit later. So, as far as just the narrow concept of green concern, obviously I'm from Ping An Technology, Ping An Group. As a group, we are A graded in terms of the MSCI. We actually rank the #1 in terms of ESG perspective in all of the integrated insurance company in APAC. So I can tell you a little bit about in terms of ESG or green what we have done. It's obviously we use a lot of technology such as AI in collecting data, massaging the data, analyze data, and also to score, right? Obviously, we have an insurance company. We provide insurance product to companies that in various industry. It doesn't matter they are old traditional coal mining industry that producing a lot of pollution to the environment, of course, in China, and also the new company, any new energy company that trying to do good things to this planet, right? So, obviously we have a big bank in terms of the green loans, who are classified as a sort of a good citizen that we need to provide, a better pricing in terms of the loans, right? So we do a lot of that, and bonds we issue green bonds, and all of those things. I can go on and on. But I'd like to switch gear a little bit about my earlier comment about, AI, right? So, I actually tend to agree a lot with a lot of comments made by Elon Musk, right? So, you talk about things like, ChatGPT, for example, right? The OpenAI, obviously has learned everything that is learned in the public domain, like a very smart kid, but without proper parental guidance. Right, so there's a lot of misinformation, obviously, on the internet. Without a proper moral compass, there's discrimination, there's hatred, there's all of those things, right? There's what do we do is that, because AI to me is almost like a genie in the box is let out, right? So if we don't control it properly, the Nobel Prize winner, right? Just a few days ago, I think Hinton, he actually made a lot of comment. He actually so scared about AI. He was supposedly to be the godfather of AI, right? I think he has all the right reason to be scared. As far as Ping An concerned, in our group, we actually started our own large language model around about the same time as Sam Altman. Ever since the 8 Google scientists published their Transform Architect, a lot of large language models on this planet are based on a similar architecture, right? So we did the same thing, but we took a very different path from OpenAI. Because we think we run an insurance company or bank, which is a financial segment, we need to be very prudent, cannot allow any sense of hallucination, right? The AI can hallucinate if you ask AI something that, it does not know. I still like to call it it because I don't think it's he or she yet, right? It's trying to be. And, you also have the Google Gemini, if you ask, give me a picture of George Washington, it will give you a black Washington, right? So it's it can also be overdone. So there's so much to do because regulations and laws and all of that, even moral things, right? They are falling behind because AI is way ahead of all the regulations. So what we do is that in our own world, in Ping An world, we actually took a very different path. Instead of trying to, learning from the public domain, we pumping our large language algorithm with a lot of private domain data because we have 36 years worth of insurance data and also 36 years worth of banking data, which are all private domain data. So we're pumping that with a lot of our private domain data. And we also took a very different approach. I mean, if anyone in the audience sort of, interested in AI, you probably will know that there's different school of thought. There's this, decoder versus encoder you've probably heard of BERT, right? So the bidirectional encoder. So we actually initially took on that path, the BERT path. So we call it Ping An BERT, which is a bit different from the generative AI. It's a lot more prudent. It requires a lot more data, right? I won't go into too much technical details so that we on onset of our own building of our own large language model within Ping An family, we had a very clear moral compass. I call it craft, which stands for credibility, reliability. The A in the middle is AI with human intervention or AI with human supervision. F stands for fairness, and T stands for transparency. So this is so important. I can't stress this more enough, especially if you're coming to human, right? So that's why I think the ESG is a lot better description in terms of you talking about sustainability of the growth using technology such as AI, rather than just the E, just concentrate on the environment or global warming. I think if we don't control that genie in the box properly, we don't have to worry too much about global warming. We probably wipe out before the global temperature rise to a dangerous temperature and then wipe out dependent. We probably wipe out by AI already. And then the other safe to us is maybe Elon Musk will build a spaceship fast enough to take, like the Noah's Ark, right? To take a few selected human beings to Mars, right? So I'll stop there. So that's, I know I didn't really put it in a very structured manner, but this is a very debatable area, right? So I want to talk more about the danger side of AI, the technology, rather than the positive side. People talk so much about the positive application of AI, which we do a lot, right? I can also talk about it. But I think since we're talking about a digital economy, the sustainability of the economy, I think we need to be very wary about the danger side of technology such as AI. Yeah.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you also for pausing, and we'll come back to you. I think if one listens to Dr. James Ong's earlier presentation, and it jives well with yours by saying AI is here to stay. Is it inevitable? I think the question he asked, yes. But is it a monster that we have created and that is going to be ultimately, how long we do not know, the extinction of humanity and machines take over? If there are no humans, no insurance. Sorry for you figuring out insurance. No, that's good. I think you have brought in the perspective of the application of AI into the finance, the banking, and the insurance sector, and how it operates. And of course, there are big question marks within this industry because how reliable they are and so on. So now moving away from the digitalized financial, banking, and insurance and related environment, including e-commerce, to a green. And I'm sure you mentioned about green means sustainable. I don't know whether Albert agrees with that. He may have different nomenclature for his idea of green. So Albert, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Allow me to give my humble views of sharing the future perspective of the world. Today our topic is about Asia new economy. But before we go further, let's talk about the old economy and the new economy, because there must be a differentiation before we talk about the new economy. The old economy is based on fossil fuel, petroleum industry, basically. And we are practicing the old so-called conservative way in doing our business. The whole system are done in such a fashion. But for the new economy, we are applying new rules and regulation or guidelines, which are all more humane, and also applying technology. Okay, kind of a holistic approach, but actually the new economy concept has been there for over like 30 years, since the 1990s. So there are a lot of changes during this 30, 40 years period. just now Matthew mentioned about green for sustainability. I mean, wording doesn't matter. The most important things is about the whole new holistic approach of how we see the future. Okay, the new economy, as I said earlier, you know, we kind of put everything which are good and right for you know solving problems of human beings, or even the natural causes that make us in this difficult situation nowadays. So with the climate change and all other issues that's coming without a timetable, because they are all here already, we have to resolve all the problem at the same time. So we don't have a choice to say which come first or later. You know, because even for refugees, we have war refugees, we also have climate refugees. We have refugees of all kinds, and whether we will be one of those. So what we have to do is also, we will ask, I will ask, you know, from the floor to think about what challenges are we facing now. You know, if we were to talk about the Asian new economy, okay, I totally agree with our chairman stating that Asia is the next upcoming, or not next, but it's already an upcoming you know, region where a lot of game-changing policies has been implemented, because the whole Asia are changing rapidly. So, but change to what fashion? What do we want? What kind of change do we want to achieve? And we have to ask ourselves, because economy, the words itself is a system. Okay, so we need a totally a policy framework that can make it work right, and also in a more humane way. So what we need to think of is, if we want to talk about Asia new economy, is that this new economy in Asia means a lot of things to us. Whether we can solve the economic problem, solving poverty issue, solving climate change issue, because climate change is already a factor that affects in our everyday's life. With technology, AI, IoT, you know, blockchain, all these things, all these tools and platforms, can we make it like in a meaningful way? And will that be the solution for Asia? Is it the objectives of what Asia wants to become? Because if we can have a new economy that can resolve so many issues in the past centuries by doing good, doing kind with moral justice, I think the development of the Asia new economy will be, you know, unlimited, and it will become a model even for other regions to share with. And also, we can also see from the past, or even recently in the recent 10 years, especially in 10 years, that many developing countries, I mean, many countries also in Asian country or in Asia Pacific region, they are coming up with many good progress, and also many good programs which proven to be effective, saving a lot of expenses, avoiding wastages, and contribute to the better society as a whole. I think this is what the digitalization and the green growth will work together, because we're doing good by digital means. As what James Ong just mentioned, AI for humanity. I mean, everything we do is not for technology, just for technology, but to do good for humanity, for the world. I think this is something that I would think of it as a holistic approach to resolve the many problems that we have rooted centuries and centuries ago.
Is
Thank
that
you.
all right?
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you. Thank you. I think there are consistent words that are being used earlier by Matthew when he said that we have to focus on a moral compass. I think he used the word moral compass. And Albert is now looking at moral justice. When we look at these kind of words that comes in is whether it is AI or any other technological innovation that is going to come, we do not know what is going to be after AI. It is not the end of the path. I think human will be able to innovate more. And if the human intelligence is taken over by machines, and machines are going to be much more superior even to human, then they are going into something which is even mind-boggling, metacognition, whether that is going to look at it. But what is interesting in Albert is that don't differentiate it old economy or new economy. The resources, the people, the environment, everything is the same. But in certain, the so-called developed countries, they have gone on a fast track and they are finding the negative influences of that. And therefore, the Asian countries and much nearer the ASEAN don't follow the same model. You have to integrate with what is essentially your base and your people, and then you absorb the technology to advance for the betterment of your society. I think that very nicely came out. And of course, the focus is going to be not so much on technology, but the technology application for the human beings. And as you know, Asia has got almost 60 or 70% of the population of the world. And therefore, our responsibility is much, much bigger. Now, I just want to look at this consistency, you have got Matthew, Albert, and George. So now over to George, your perspective on this subject.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Datashri, and big thanks also to the World Digital Chamber, Tantri, Mike Leo, and everyone having us here today to talk about this leadership, the way of forward for digital and green growth. Maybe starting with the digital growth and then trying to find a connection to the green growth and bringing the two pieces together is what I'm trying to do. Obviously, don't have to tell you, just look what you're holding in your hands. We're in a period of profound transformation. Everybody has now a supercomputer in their hands, supercomputer compared to what people were used to 20 years ago or couldn't even dream 40 years ago. And that's across the world, in particular also in Asia, specifically also in Malaysia, happening at an unprecedented pace. And they talk about digital transformation, but it's actually far more than that, what is happening across pretty much every industry. And I try to give some more live examples rather than stay in the theoretical sphere of companies I'm involved in. If you think about, for example, Chulan IQI, which is a Malaysian-based PropTech business, there's 46,000 real estate agents now, all using a simple mobile phone to do pretty much everything from procuring listings, advertising, selling, renting out, taking down payments, signing basic agreements, and so on, all with a mobile phone. So the mobile phone has completely shaped an industry. Everybody is far more productive in the industry. And what it also did, it gave access to the digital economy to those who are actually normally in the past couldn't participate in, because all you need is a mobile phone. The same thing is true for another company I'm involved in, Example, which is a influencer creator platform, more in the area of the social commerce. And here you have 20,000 influencers using, again, a mobile phone. Now, e-commerce is now 25% roughly of the total commerce and growing fast. So with people holding the phone wherever they are, whether they're in regional areas, whether in disadvantaged areas. I think access to a mobile phone is the most basic thing. And I would say in particular in the Asian countries and Malaysia, we are quite advanced in terms of the digital inclusion compared to other parts of the world. It also allows for smaller companies like the SMEs we often talk about to get access to this technology. Now, how does this tie to the green side? And is there a connection between the two things? I do believe, I mean, we've all heard and we all know climate change is a matter which needs to be addressed, and sustainability is at the forefront of any government agenda. And green growth is not just an environmental imperative, but is also an economic necessity and also opportunity. So both necessity and opportunity. Renewable energy is very much being leveraged and used. AI comes into place a lot when it comes to solar, wind, hydrogen, and other key pillars of the renewable energy stream, and help actually in making better use of the resources we have. Think of smart cities, think of sustainable transport, think of eco-friendly construction. I mean, there's a lot of example of actually where a bit more AI would have helped avoid embarrassment or disaster. Think of the country I was born in Germany. Germany is at the forefront of sustainable energy generation, but somehow my German ancestors missed the point of that you actually also need to distribute the power. So now that you have all the power, you have extra excess power, but it's not accessible to everyone because there's not enough power lines. So they're quickly building those now. But obviously such things take many, many years, half a decade or more. So the other thing, shifting towards circular economy, meaning making better use of the resources we have. Think of the car. I mean, if you own a car, how often do you really use it? I mean, you've been through all these examples. If you share it, or if you find models in sharing your mobility, it actually will help not only the environment, the sustainability, it will build up a green economy and also tie nicely to the digital economy. And digital tools are very, very useful in creating transparency in this field, in the field of anything to do with sustainability and green. And I do believe this is a great opportunity also for countries like Malaysia. I mean, we're currently building a lot of data centers. Data centers require a lot of energy. So I would strongly recommend that at the same time we also push along, which we are doing, the energy production in order to run all these data centers in a very, very efficient way. So as I said, the governments across Asia, I can see a lot of steps being taken in addressing these challenges and opportunities. Every challenge is always an opportunity. So there's always a interesting or a good side or a side which we might not initially see when things happen. And once we discover these sides, we can actually leverage it and make most of it. It's not just about government action, it's also action for public-private partnerships, businesses, small, medium-sized enterprises, and all of us. And of course, it won't be an easy road, but it will be definitely a road worthwhile for our region, for our country. And I mean, I'm naturally an optimist in most of the things, and I'm also very much an optimist about Malaysia being at the forefront, not just the digital growth, but also the green growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Yes, you brought in the perspective of profound transformation. A transformation both in the digitalization or the digital transformation, and also the aspects of green. And green in this case, it is not on the ground with production, but green in the sense that the energy resources are looked upon as sustainable on a green manner, so that the fossil fuel is brought down and down and never into a zero position, I think that is almost an impossibility. The fact that is an energy transition. I think later we will have the benefit of listening to our Minister for Energy Transition, Deputy Prime Minister and Water Transformation. He will talk about more on the subject matter, whether they are renewable energy or even nuclear energy and so on. So George did bring out this element of a tool, a gadget. The gadget is your mobile phone. The mobile phone is, I'm told, I think Tanzim Michael, when he sent me a video, and he said that it is no longer a phone. It is a tablet. It is a computer bundled into one, and it is available in your pocket. You are actually carrying a computer and all the related, what do you call, applications in your things. So on the issue of circular economy and so on, certainly Asia will have to look at it, particularly in the sense that it has got the biggest population, and also to see that the population doesn't explode before the nuclear devices explode in the other part of the world, God forbid. So we now move on to Dr. Haji Mazlan, and Richwood Ventures and some other areas he's looking at it, although he's very much involved in the Islamic side of some of the thinking, whether it is AI, or whether it is going to be the digital, whether it is going to be green. Perhaps he can bring us a slightly different perspective. Dr. Haji?
Assalamualaikum and very good morning, Dato' Sri Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. I will bring different perspective today as one of the advisor to Malaysia Anti-Corruption Commission, and recently I was also appointed as one of the task force for improving our corruption perception index, CPI. So we are basically only 13 of us, majority KSN, KSU, only 4 of us are non-government. Myself, Datuk Sri Wahid, and 2 more. The task given by our Prime Minister is that we want to achieve by 2030 that our CPI will shoot up from currently 50 in terms of rank to the top 25. Of course, this is a big challenge for us. But for me, as I share my advice to my council member, surely we can, but provided we do the right thing together. Of course, that is about corruptions. What happened in the past, people always talk about corruptions, but to me, corruptions is only after the effect. We must talk a lot about the cause of the effect. The cause is today about governance. Now, today we talk about circular economy, AI, digital, all kind of transformation, green. But if we don't have the basic fundamental governance in place, whatever that we talk becomes zero, meaningless. This is why today the government is very focusing that governance must be in place. That is the reason why on the 7th May 2023, the Prime Minister launched the new National Corruption Strategy next. So I don't want to talk about corruption. That is not the sexy things today, but yes, I will plan why governance is so important for us in order Malaysia to become a developed country. I would like to share with all of you about our own journey in our Richwood Ventures Berhad. Yes, currently we have our own payment system gateway. We have our super apps We have our own card, everything using mobile. So what we do now as part of our sustainability, now sustainability is very important to really understand what is the concept. For us, sustainability means we want to be forever and ever. We want to be unicorn. We want to be the global player. We want to become the server to all global community. So this is where we created our own concept, philosophy. So our philosophy to become sustainable, what we need to do basically three things. The first is all about changing our mindset. Changing our mindset means we want to become global player. So whatever product that we have, whatever services that we are going to produce, the product services must be accepted by the global community. So this is where today I would like to encourage everyone here. Remember, when we have product, the product is not only from Malaysia, but you are going to sell for the whole world. The market is the whole world. The market is the entire. It's not only 33 million, but billions. So you can imagine that is where we need to change our mindset as first globalization. So this is the first globalization. Second is about digitization. Like it or not, we can't anyway now using the old Asian, the old traditional economy. Today, digitization means if you have to go to Mecca for Muslim to perform Hajj Umrah, yes, traditionally we can use camel, use sampan boat, but today God has given us the brain, use plane. Better still, you can use your own private jet. So use digital technology. The third, any policy, any secret success that we have, we must have this third component, enterprising. That's where in all our business strategy, enterprising is one of the key components. That means we create all our members, whether they are staff, they are stakeholders as a government, federal, state, business community, business partner, academia, public at large, they have all the opportunity to become entrepreneur. That's where we create active income, passive income in our business model. Our revenue model is very clear. Create business income, active income. Whether you like it or not, income is for you. Therefore, in our tagline, you are forced to become, if not multi-billionaire, yes, you become multi-millionaire as long you follow our concept. So what to do means only three things: globalization, digitization, and enterprising. But how to do, how to achieve is only three things. The first, we cannot work in silo. We have to work as a smart partner. I mean, we must collaborate both horizontally and also vertically. That means we must work with the government, private, academia, business community, public at large, everything, and including we must serve and work with our environment, work with all the animals because they are our part of our responsibility to take care of our animals. So this is where we are talking about how can we do our part to preserve our planet. This is where we talk about SDG, 17 pillars. This is where we focus about our business initiative in line with our ESG requirement. So talking about ESG, smart partnership, currently we are exploring, helping the so-called undeveloped, the Eastern Corridor. So we have ventured with our Eastern digital state, covering Terengganu, Kelantan, and Pahang. So in the past, Kelantan, Terengganu, Pahang is always considered as a less developed state. Nobody want to do business with them. But this is where, because we feel that we as a good citizen, as a good business community, we have to do our part to help develop Eastern Corridor to become digital state. So we brought not only AI, big data. Okay, talking about big data, we have our own big data technology, complete with AI, complete. Yes, I know today, if we talk about big data, it is a power monstrous, right? Suck energy. So what big data, what data center that we have, the data center we have together with AI, power, saving, the technology and all that. That's why we can have a better facilities for our business community. To become digital state, where we vision to be like Estonia. Today, Estonia is regarded as the leading digital country in the world. So we model based on our Estonia experience, then we copy, duplicate, and we will bring for the digital state Eastern Corridor. So what we have to offer for digital state Eastern Corridor, the entire digital framework ranging from e-government, e-governance, registration, a smart city, payment system gateway. Of course, we are talking about how we can help all the entire community. They are taken care in terms of medical. So that's where we introduce, yes, insurance, we also introduce Takaful. So blending all this smart partnership, we need to have a good monetization, a very good, very robust financial model. So this is where we introduce our own program. So this is we tied up with all the religious council. The model is Wakaf. We have been talking about Wakaf digital bank. We've been talking about Wakaf ecosystem, smart city, Takaful, business, capital, medical, education. Wakaf is the future. So this is where I would like to encourage and invite all of you come join us for this journey. You are using our Wakaf system not only to enrich ourselves as a group commercial, but also at the same time play our part to help the unserved, underserved, as what advice described by Bank Negara. So last month, our Deputy Governor, Aznan, went to Oxford to share about the new value proposition about PVI, but value-based intermediaries. So now this is the time that we must not only talk about commercial, but we talk about our social responsibility. So having talked about two things on how to do the smart partnership, monetization, and the last component is about captive. So captive is very powerful concept where in the past, based on my experience, we always see that we have so many limitations. We don't have people, we don't have talent, we don't have resources, expertise, no system, not enough capital in order for us to become a smart nation. But now, if you can understand what is captive means leverage based on talent that we have, the expert that we have, even in this house, we can do whatever that we cannot do in the past. So with this, we can achieve our sustainability. So last but not least, I believe KSI have prepared this platform so that we can collaborate and create our own synergy, how everybody can become one. Let me end first before we can go to the next stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I've got not something very exciting. So, Dr. Haji Maslan, thank you very much for your presentation. I think you brought out two or three very essential points. The first one you started, congratulations on your appointment on the advisory council for the corruption matter, and then the corruption perception index you have to be brought down, and you are very concerned with the root causes because everybody is concerned. So corruption is part of the total ESG component, which is part of the sustainability and the sustainability development goals. So it has got a track of its own. So that, I think, is an important aspect. The second one, you said that enterprising based on a digital base. I think many of the people who are in the audience are very successful entrepreneurs and holding on to enterprises. So data, whether that is available and the interpretation of that is meaningful for the progress of the enterprises or to the organizations or to the country itself. I think this is something that we can look at in a way. And finally, we are looking at Professor Dr. Chin Yu Sin. And if I give the mic to him, he can take on the rest of the time to present because he's so well versed with so many aspects and the things. But you have just heard a note from the parliament saying that the deputy prime minister is on the way. So he may arrive a little bit earlier than what was scheduled, and we look forward to his arrival. So before that, Professor Chin, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sri. Today we're talking about this green economic growth. So what is the objective of green economic growth? So before that, our traditional factors of production were based on what? Based on this capital or money, machinery, and manpower. These were our traditional factors of production in our factories. But nowadays, in order to achieve green economic growth, you have to add another new factor called the natural capital factor, also called the environment. Because in this green economic growth, you have to not only take care of the economic growth of a country, you must at the same time also must protect our environment for sustainability purpose. That's why I just sort of for this there are three things I think we have to look into it in order to achieve green economic growth. First thing, we must have this what I call economic sustainability. What do you mean by economic sustainability? That means you try to achieve economic growth as long as possible. But in reality, it's not possible because of the theory of supply and demand. Because economics will go up and down, mainly because of the what I call the supply and demand issue. So when the economy is doing well, the factors of production like materials and this what I call this manpower cost will go up, so that not many people would demand your product. So eventually the economic growth will be slowed down or will slow down. So because of this thing, when the economy is not doing well, everybody try to cut down the cost of the materials and the labor costs and other costs, so that you sort of more people will buy a product because the products are very cheap at the time the economy grow up. So in order to sustain economic growth forever is not possible because of this theory of supply and demand. That's why in this economic sustainability, only thing we try to prolong this economic growth as long as possible. That's the only thing we can do. That's why economic sustainability is one factor we have to look at, because without any economic sustainability, a country cannot progress very well. You must look back many countries in the past, especially China, you know, in 1978, before it opens its market or reform its what I call this system, the economic growth, the what I call the GDP is very per capita was very low, only few hundred USD. But nowadays, after 40 over years, China opened up. Exactly 45 years or 46 years opened up. So now the what I call this economic per capita is higher than Malaysia already. It's more than about 12,000 to 13,000 what I call USD per person or per capita. So that's why economic sustainability is very important for the growth of a nation. Secondly, we have to look at what is called the social sustainability. In order to attain social sustainability, we must have social justice or social inclusiveness. We cannot leave out anybody when a country is developing its economy. This is very important because there are so many people or some of the people might not be so what I call lucky. So you have to take care of them in order to achieve this social sustainability so that everybody will have a fair share in the progress of a country, and then nobody will be left out. This is very important. Social justice, very important. So the last one is what I call this economic sustainability, what I call environmental sustainability, because environmental sustainability is the most important. Without environmental sustainability, you don't have economic sustainability and social sustainability. That's why this environmental protection is very important. We have to try to cut down the emissions of carbon dioxide, because 80% of the what I call the global warming is because of these emissions of carbon dioxide. Because carbon dioxide, why will cause global warming? Because carbon dioxide, when it emit to the atmosphere, it will capture the heat emitted from the what I call the earth. So this will cause global warming. That's why you can see the weather change already. Now every day raining. Not supposed to rain at this month one. No. Normally it will rain only about November or December. But now in October, every day is raining. Because of what? Because of global warming. That's why you can see many countries are having this sort of problem, the flood problem, because of global warming. That's why economic sustainability,
Yeah,
very important.
we have got many signals coming, digital
No,
signals
but I
coming in.
I still got something I have to finish
Yeah.
off first.
Maybe we can.
Because it's not fair to me if I cut off just like that. The second, I think the ASEAN, the Asians should come up with a green deal by incorporating these three things. This is what I call the economic sustainability, social sustainability, and environmental sustainability. Because right now EU got the what I call the green deal, mostly talking about low carbon emission and this social justice and prosperity. So I think ASEAN country, Asian country should come up with own what I call green deal by incorporating the three factors I'm mentioning.
Okay.
Huh?
All right.
I'll
Thank you.
talk about
Thank
5
you.
minutes.
Thank you. I was wondering earlier when I started, how can we take on this until 1:25? There was an additional 45 minutes. I didn't know whether we can do that now, but we are told that we have to finish it by 12:45. So we just have 5 minutes because the Deputy Prime Minister is about to arrive. So I am a bit worried whether I should give a time for you to ask questions. Got about 5 minutes. If there are none, very quickly, quick points. One is a lot of digitalization in banking, finance, and insurance. At the same time, there is a lot of scams coming in. How do you get that protection? Very quickly. Matthew?
I think, fortunately, unfortunately, a lot of scams actually coming from China. So we have a lot of experience in using technology, dealing with these kind of scams. So that's the value proposition from me.
All right. Any other comments? The second one is when, yeah.
Okay, talk about how to prevent scam. Is it?
Mm.
through this AI. AI, actually, there are some weaknesses about this AI impersonating a person. Very simple. You just ask him to shake the head or just wave the hand like that. Then you can see something. Immediately the face will be changed. So that's why no matter how he imitate, it straight away can change. Don't let him just talk like that. You ask him to shape the hand, all this. Cover the face.
Block
Then
the screen.
face, the actual face will come out.
Yeah, there is this identity because Narayana Murthy earlier in his presentation about India talked about the digital framework under which the Aadhaar, the identity card works. And then this is foolproof. But now we are told that you have identity theft. Your identity can be borrowed or stolen and somebody becomes you. I'm sure we are very worried about it. Maybe KSI will organize another seminar or a conference on these aspects of it. So can I, on your behalf, thank all the panel members for their wonderful presentations. And thank you very much for listening to this. And we bring this to a conclusion and then wait on for the lunch and the special address by the Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia. Thank you very much.